Some call me nature.
I am very passionate about the planet.
Earth. A living, breathing planet capable of sustaining whatever life forms we see fit to deposit on it.
Spock.
Judging by the pollution content of the atmosphere, I believe we have arrived.
Is the planet stupid? No. It's the planet stupid.
Now, here she is. Our guide for It's the Planet Stupid, eco-journalist Belinda Waymouth. Belinda, good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening.
How are you?
We are well here. I will advise all of the stations along the Mark Thompson Show network that we might run a couple of minutes along as we spend a moment with Belinda. Belinda, you have talked about so many things on this show, and I see them coming up. There's a front page piece in the Chronicle today about gas stoves and the awfulness associated with them, worse than a lot of fossil fuel release, worse than smoking cigarettes if you're standing over a gas stove. It's like it's insane. I think about the portable nuke thing that's been in the news as well. Alternative energy's been in the news. So as we pass things back and forth, I pushed you a couple of pieces that I thought were interesting, and you can decide where we go today. Public lands, what's happening in Europe. Take us wherever you'd like.
Okay. Well, I love that you brought up the gas stoves, because I was going to say if you wanted to send me any merch, I'd love the pot holder to use with my new induction stove that I love.
Yes, the pot holder is a fine item, and you shall receive one.
Yeah, well, I'm and I have to tell, I mean, I've said this before on the show, if we've got listeners who are thinking, oh, no, I love cooking with gas, the induction is just great and as responsive and as quick and all that stuff. And, it's what really strikes me this week. I mean, it sort of really has been for a while. We're in such a critical and also exciting time, as far as this transition to clean energy and knowing the importance and need of protecting biodiversity. But what's really happening and what we're really seeing playing out, particularly with all this news this week, is that, change doesn't come easily. And there's a ton of pushback. And it's really this sort of one step forward, one step back. And, I think in the US, it's a very stark sort of reflection of the political landscape, because it really comes, what we're seeing in Utah is we're seeing Republicans saying, hey, no, we don't like this good neighbor rule. We don't want to stop our coal-fired power plants from, providing us electricity. We don't care that, NOx, which is nitrogen dioxide or nitrogen oxides, which cause ozone. And, as we've talked about on the show, ozone, great up in the stratosphere where it protects us from the sun's power, but down here, at the level that we humans live at, ozone is terrible. It's air pollution. And what Utah is saying, we don't care if that air pollution is drifting over into neighboring Colorado and killing people. So it's this, the good neighbor rule is important. We shouldn't, a state shouldn't be able to pollute its neighbors, and we are transitioning away from coal. But we've got this,
this is a big story. I don't mean to interrupt, but this is a big story that what Belinda's talking about. The state of Utah is essentially firing up these plants, and the nitrogen oxide talk about drifts over into Colorado, and it produces, this toxic brew. And so environmental groups are saying, hey, this ain't cool. And Colorado's saying, we're done with this. Why should we be choking down your pollutants, your toxic pollutants in our state?
Yeah. Well, and the thing that we're seeing here is, when I talk about the sort of the push-pull, it's playing out on the, the actual, landscape of the country and our lives. And you've got the government, the federal government enacting, policies that are, good for us and moving in the right direction. And obviously states' rights are huge. And this is a vast country and it's 340, million people. And states' rights are important. But when you get a state, pushing back on federal policy that makes sense and is for our, the good of people, it's sort of like, how can we move forward if we're always going to be, in some, kind of legal fight? And, so yeah, we've got this, Utah saying, no, we don't want to comply with the good neighbor rule. We don't care about people in Colorado. And you've got the Biden administration, saying, no, this is what we should be doing. And then a state saying, well, no, we don't want to do that. We want to keep burning. So it's sort of madness, because we have to make these changes, but they don't come easily. We're not all behind them, and a lot of it plays along political lines. And a lot of Republicans want the status quo, and it's really amazing when you think about conservation or climate change coming down to what your political affiliation is. That's nuts. This is about the survival and of us on planet Earth. And so we should all be behind these policies that are going to do us.
Let me just put some details on this, though, because this is interesting. Utah has 4 coal-fired power plants that could potentially be affected by this good neighbor rule that Belinda's talking about. 2 Rocky Mountain plants, the Intermountain Power Project, which operates the state's largest coal-fired power plant. And they've announced their plans to close the coal units and move to natural gas and hydrogen. The other plant is the Bonanza Power Plant near Vernal, which serves rural electrical cooperatives in Utah and adjoining states. Now, the governor of Utah has said what Belinda's talking about, which is that Colorado's saying, hey, this good neighbor rule, you cannot fire up all these plants and then expect us to choke down this air. They're saying that it is a power grab, that it's an attempt to move a Democrat. They're playing the politics of it, Belinda, which I think you so correctly identify. We will not stand by as the Biden administration, this is a quote from the governor, encroaches on Utah's reasonable, responsible, and realistic approach to powering our state. Now, the senator from Utah, who is a Democrat, who's worked in the renewable energy industry, opposed this lawsuit and said that he's sympathetic to the argument that clean energy takes time. We can't just retire our baseload resources overnight. But he said it's a planning issue, not a technology issue, which sort of suggests we will get to it. We'll get to alternative energy, but we're not there yet. What is your take on that? I mean, is it just so much chatter, or are they in the process of changing?
Well, the fact is some of, when they're talking about, hey, we're going to be moving away from coal and to natural gas, and even, no, it's no better. And, that brings up what's happening in California and how we keep on, prolonging the life of our natural gas-fired power plants, even though we're seen as this environmental leader, but we see it as the only way that we can keep the lights on and the air conditioners going. And the fact is, if we keep doing that and putting the greenhouse gases up into the atmosphere, we're going to keep heating up the planet and need more air conditioners, and they're super, energy gobbling. And we just keep ourselves in this, sort of same, I mean, we're on a hamster wheel. But I think what's, the thing about Utah is, what they're talking about is, you have to if you're going to be burning, coal or natural gas, you have to be, harnessing or stopping the pollutants from that burning of fossil fuels from getting out into the atmosphere. So if you have a coal-fired power plant, you have to make it a clean one. Well, that's a no-brainer. Of course you do. And you have to put that technology into play, and that technology is there. And the fact that they've already put earmarked $2 million for this legal fight, use the money to make, if you're going to keep burning dirty fossil fuels, put the money towards making it, as clean as you possibly can. So, I find these arguments and this posturing, it's just this thing, and we've, talked about this, I mean, sort of to with blue in the face, Mark, is, it can't be, always profit over people, and that it's about, your shareholders and the bottom line and making money and, the cheapest, dirtiest fuel that you can use, you can sort of justify that. You can't anymore. And we see that. I mean, if you look at what's happening. I mean, Europe is already heading towards a super, super hot summer. California has got a reprieve this year because we got all this incredible precipitation, and we've got the snowpack, so we'll be able to use hydropower. And if there's a drought, we're sort of in a better position because of that. When the temperatures go up, but I think it's human beings don't like change, but it's going to happen anyway. And I think this sort of push-pull is sort of part of the growing pains of change. But the news that came out of Norway yesterday saying that the government is, going to open, their intention is to open up their national waters to deep sea mining. That, Mark, came one day after world leaders, including Norway, adopted a global treaty to protect oceans. Right. So I mean, literally, my head is spinning. My head is spinning. It's, the good neighbor rule, totally makes sense. And if Utah was being polluted by Colorado and all their neighboring states, say it wasn't, a coal-fired power plant, say it was some other industry and there was some terrible, noxious pollution, drifting over into their state and poisoning their water supplies and, giving, everyone eczema or, some horrible skin rash, they'd be jumping up and down. Well, the fact is, this, fossil fuels have been doing this for decades. Now we know better. And, you can...
Well, still, the infrastructure's in place. It's a hard transition, but the transition has to be made. And as you say, we have kind of this death grip on the way we're doing it now. By the way, the Norway expansion that Belinda's talking about, the World Wildlife Fund said the deep seabed mining that Norway has planned, one of the worst environmental decisions the country has ever made. The government plans to open an ocean area larger than the UK to mining in the Arctic. This comes, as Belinda says, a day after countries, including Norway, officially, adopt that protect the ocean policy.
Yeah, it's completely crazy. And, the politics that are playing out, in the North Sea and around, the Arctic oceans as the ice melts. I mean, Putin is salivating at what, the melting of the sea ice is going to do as far as being able to mine and the shipping routes and what it's going to do for, his relationship with China. I mean, Hillary Clinton, when she was the Secretary of State during the Obama administration, she went up to look at, what was going to, what was happening in the North Sea and what this was going to mean for mining and shipping routes. But, we know better. We have all the information. So it's like, come on, people,
Yeah, I want to ask you just a quick thing I saw in the chat, and then we will have to wrap up. But I saw someone kind of, and I think it was maybe my comment that, or I think that you agreed with the gas versus coal. And I said, they're switching to natural gas. It's no better. And someone was sort of suggesting no better. Really? I don't think that's true. Like gas is... I mean, can you speak to that? You can go, well, we're getting rid of coal and we're going natural gas. Can you just speak? Is it possible to speak to it briefly?
Well, look, natural gas, I mean, we call it natural gas to make it sound like it's good, but it's not. Natural gas is methane and ethane. Methane is, over its lifetime, 24 times more powerful than CO2 as a greenhouse gas. So it really heats up the planet. So natural gas is not the solution, and it can be, used and is better than coal because you can turn it on and off, whereas a coal-fired power plant has to burn all the time, whether you're using the electricity or not. You can't turn a coal-fired power plant off or on, and you can do that with natural gas. So that's one advantage. But really, we have to be using other power sources, not either of those two. And the pushing of both those, they're both fossil fuels, comes from the industry. The industry, pushes it. They want to keep using it. It's why fossil fuels are pushing plastic production so much right now. It's because it allows them to keep using, their ethane, which is a byproduct of, when we're getting our oil out of the ground and refining it. You get all this, ethane, and you can make tons and tons of plastic. We have to wean ourselves off this carbon-rich energy source. We have to go to clean energy. It is happening. We're just having incredible growing pains, and we're seeing them play out everywhere. I get it. Change isn't easy.
Yeah.
It's game on.
The last thing I would say, I mean, that's so right. Game on. And I see this occasionally, and I hear this all the time, is that the Earth is going to survive humans. Don't worry. The Earth's not going anywhere. The planet's going to be fine. We may be dead, but the planet's going to be fine. The planet isn't fine. We have this remarkable place with this remarkable balance, all of these wondrous ecosystems. This is such a gorgeous, delicate thing, and we've already begun to kill it. So when all of these species and these sensitive habitats are destroyed forever, already we've lost that Earth you're talking about. So don't tell me the Earth is going to be fine. The Earth's not fine. We're killing things right now. Why? Because technically the gravity of the Earth is going to continue, and so the Earth will continue in rotation and will continue in orbit. It'll be fine and stuff will regrow. Yeah, I get it. But don't you value the things that are here on Earth now? Some of these wondrous places and things and species and habitats. I don't mean to get on a soapbox, but it's such a facile thing to say, no, the Earth will be fine. Believe me. Oh, we're screwing it up, but the Earth will be fine. It's the things on the Earth that are the Earth. Just drives me crazy. Sorry, Belinda. I feel I've...
Why are you yelling?
I feel I brought the crowd down somehow, and I'm sorry. I want to... you so beautifully, though, describe a lot of these things that I feel can be attended to save the Earth, to save many of the things to which I've referred. So thank you for being here, and thank you for letting me rant. Belinda can be found across social media, and I want to record, Kim, a separate... I don't know what that is. A separate offering with Belinda about her experience with cancer. You know, she had this brutal run with cancer, and I think it's about to be birthed into some kind of presentation that she's going to do. And I'd love for our audience to get a preview of that before it does get out there. So Belinda Waymouth is at Belinda Waymouth, Waymouth. Belinda, thank you for being here.
Totally my pleasure. I will see you guys. I will talk to you guys on July 20th. I'm going to New Zealand tomorrow, so I will miss you.
Nice.
I will miss you.
Nice.
Yeah, going home to see my family, but back July 20th.
Great. Well, then that will be the plan. And when you get back, you're the potholder from the Mark Thompson merch store will be waiting for you. All right. So Belinda Waymouth, everybody. Hi, it's Mark, and I thought that was great. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever there's a new video being dropped, and please subscribe to our channel to help us save the universe.